Well, okay then. Well, good morning again and happy Mother's Day.
Good morning, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
And to this month, May, we're in May, right? Because some of these days they're still running together and the months. Yeah, this is May. And May is a mental health awareness month.
Oh,
And because of a death in our family, we decided that would, and it said, his dad said that he was struggling with some mental health issues. Well, we decided that we would talk on mental health and getting help in the Black community.
mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to just kick it off by saying that I do recall, and I have heard, and even on TV shows, and I think a show recently, I was sitting in the room that the children were watching, and the father in the show said something to the fact that Black people get don't have therapists or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is dangerous, especially nowadays, because with all this stuff is happening, and I've said it before, I feel that I have PTSD, and I imagine many of us do, because of all the killings and
The
the
social issues
the
going.
social issues that's
Mhm.
going on and stuff like that. So, and then many of the states have um, ruled that racism is a mental health issue or something like that. So that can be hard when people continue to put that out there like that.
Didn't the
Yeah.
CDC say that racism is a not mental health issue, a something health,
Oh, yeah,
a
it might have
health,
not been in those exact words,
it's a
but
health something like a
yeah,
global health issue,
yeah, something like
um, but not, I guess, health in the sense of being healthy per
that.
se.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Being unhealthy. Yeah.
yeah.
Being
I mean,
unhealthy.
like in our physical sense of health.
Right.
But the way they put it, I have to look that up. I just read it. I just can't remember what term they used.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great topic for today's discussion. First, let's say, we're missing a generation here, and that's
Right.
Gen Z. So Kennedy is in Florida. Her best friend just graduated yesterday from University of Tampa, so she went to her graduation. She said, "Mom, they're crazy out here. Ain't nobody wearing a mask, and everything is open." I
Oh, wow.
said, "Yeah, that's that DeSantis,
That's
just
the Santas.
DeSantis." I say, "You do what you got to do, kiddo." And she's like, "Yeah," and I'm double masking, and I'm glad I'm fully vaccinated. So I was
Yeah.
like, "That's good."
No, she
Um,
is fully vaccinated.
oh yeah, she
Oh, because she's at the school.
the RA at school, yeah.
Right.
So she's doing that, and then oh my goodness, she'll be graduating next month in about a month. So
I
woo,
can
looking
hardly,
forward
I
to
can
that.
hardly believe it.
Crazy.
I can still remember her asking you not to give her any cow's milk because cow's milk is for the calf and not for human beings. Because you wouldn't give Cletus, may he rest in peace, Cletus,
Complete.
cat's milk.
That's what she said. After she said, I don't know. We have been watching like this is funny, not on health, mental health at all, but just regarding Kennedy and how fast they grow, is we have been watching like PBS or something that had to do maybe National Geographic on TV with regards to like farming, and they had these cows and they were being milked and stuff like that. And fast forward to like the next day or something like that, maybe even a week later, I went to give her some milk. She was what, 3 or 4 years old by
Yeah,
then, maybe
about
five. Went to give her milk. She was always so smart. Went to give her some milk, and she was like, "I don't want no milk." First, she said, "I don't want no milk from a cow's vagina."
yeah.
So I guess she thought
Milk
that's how
from
they
a
were
cow's
milking them down.
vagina.
Yeah, that's she thought that's what they were doing down there when they were milking them, and we were watching. And then she went on to say, I'm a child, like I'm a human kid. That's what she said. I'm a human kid. You wouldn't give Cletus as our dog, rest in peace, Cletus. You wouldn't give a dog cat's milk. So why
Yeah,
are you trying to give me,
cow's
cow's
milk,
milk?
the calf,
She didn't
baby
make no
calf milk.
sense.
Yeah, the baby
And
calf's milk. I
ended
know.
up becoming a vegan later. So
Hmm.
anyway,
I know that stuck with her.
I was
So
like, makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. But it says Riverside County declares racism a public health crisis.
Public health crisis.
Public
That's what
health
it is.
crisis. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was so saddened to hear about the death of my cousin, and
Hmm.
these things happen all too often in our community and in homes, and people don't talk about it. You know, it's taboo. You don't talk about mental health and stuff like that. However, I know you and I have had conversations about mental health, and you're kind. You know, it's generational, I think. And
Right.
so you were saying how you think that it's taboo in the Black community for people to say, you know, they have a therapist or to go seek help
Right.
when they need it. And I, being Gen X, I see more and more people embracing it. I even think it's like, oh, that's a part of, like, you know, I have health insurance, a dentist, I have a therapist, I have, you know, an eye doctor, like that kind of thing. That's checked, like for sure. I have these lined up for need whenever I might need it. And I found that even on social media, people might post about like, I don't feel that people are shy about their mental health issues. Like I see people saying, "Oh, I struggle with anxiety. I struggle with depression." Some more recent than in the past, just over the pandemic and being inside, and people are like, "I think I'm depressed. Like I need to talk to somebody." So they're
Right.
being more aware of it. I don't know if prior to that they would have been more sharing, or if they're kind of like we're all in the same boat, and there's way more people impacted mentally than they may have thought. But, as I mentioned in the past with the social issues, it all started with the death of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, and then Ahmaud Arbery and so forth. And that just messed me up. So I was like,
Yeah.
I need to talk to somebody. And that is definitely a form of PTSD. And
Hmm.
just talking to somebody, I went and talked to my counselor, and then she thought that I could benefit from this group sessions that they
Okay.
had where people were saying the same things.
Yeah.
So there must
Yeah.
have been about 8 or 10 of us in this group,
Hmm.
all
That
Black
was one
women,
group, and that
one
was one.
man,
Hmm.
huh?
I said, and that was just one group.
And that was just one group.
Hmm.
And so we talked it out, and it just felt good to be pissed and be mad
Hmm.
and have people understand that, and that they're going through the same thing, but to see, but also have the two facilitators, counselors, kind of give us some tips on how we can handle, that anger, whatever the feeling was, that anger, that sadness, that fear,
Yeah.
whatever it was. They were like, this is how you can manage it. And
Yeah.
most of us were wondering about in the workplace. Like,
Yeah.
this is going on here, then I have to get in a meeting and be
Hmm.
on. Like,
Yeah.
that's, um, so yeah, I think that more and more people are embracing being able to see a counselor and stuff. But I do know there are a couple of generations out there who may not think,
Right.
ain't nothing wrong with you, that
Yeah.
kind of.
Exactly. Mine started the year before. I think mine started in 2019 when it seemed like someone was getting killed every week. That's when I really started feeling it.
Mhm.
Where it was just like every morning I would get up like crying, like I had told you before. I used that song by John Legend and Common Glory as like my theme song every morning. I would get up and pray, get up, pray, and turn that song on and cry because that's just how much like I felt like that's how I could get it off. And then I did go to a therapist, but in certain areas, you want to go to someone that you believe can understand what you're saying, and they're not listening to you talk, but in their head, they're like, this ain't, that ain't nothing, or, whatever. So, and that's another reason why I believe a lot of older, maybe African Americans, Black people don't go because trust issue.
Mhm.
If they can't see someone that they kind of believe understands what they're saying, then they believe that we're not going to get help because they don't care anyway.
So someone who looks like them.
Someone that
Mhm.
looks like them, or can possibly understand, have some kind of background or something, looks like them, be um, even another person of color would possibly make
Yeah.
them a
Yeah.
little better.
I
And
think so
so,
too.
yeah. And so, like now, I don't know how the Asian Pacifics felt before, but now they have been, I imagine many of them have said, I understand how Black people feel now. I would imagine school.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's
that's what I'm saying.
unfortunate conditions, but yeah.
So I'm saying you can only imagine what their mental health is now. But going back to Black people, because we're talking about them, I do believe, like you said, there is a generation that we are so, and there's nothing wrong with having faith in God. That's a good thing.
No.
But many of us take it to the extreme. Well, some of us take it to the extreme as if you just pray that off. You must not believe in God if you're gonna go over here and tell your business. Plus, they still have that nothing in anything goes on this house. You don't take it out
Yeah.
of. So now you taking your business out of the house,
Hmm.
and you might have to tell what went on in the house, the reason you feeling like you feeling. So
Hmm.
you have
Hmm.
all those combinations. You have that, the no trust, and then you also have, and this is my opinion, the guys on the street that want to be tough, and they don't want their buddies to know that because their two best friends just got killed, they don't want them to see them crying, maybe, or they don't want them to know that that affected them mentally,
I didn't even think about that.
So who do they
Which
go
in
to?
turn can impact how they care for their families, not only
Exactly.
themselves, but the families.
But
Like,
how they care for yes, for how they care for the people that
mm,
they go back to.
mm-hmm,
So, and if no one in their surrounding, in their group, in their pack, in their tribe ever says, man, it's okay to cry, or man, you might need to get a little help because you've been acting, a little down lately since so and so died or got killed or whatever, then that would make a difference. And then I also think about in this time of COVID, how, and I've heard this too many times. I've just spoke with a friend of mine who she lost her brother-in-law in February, and she lost a good friend in February. She lost her brother-in-law in April, and her sister's dying now from COVID. The brother-in-law and the sister contracted COVID because their grandchild brought it into the house.
mm-hmm.
So think about that grandchild, the mental, uh, what that person's mental capacity at this point. Are they gonna be? Do they have somebody that's gonna tell them to go seek some help? And I've heard too many stories like that. I have another friend who's her mother-in-law passed away like that. You know,
Because the grandchild brought it
the
into.
grandchildren, the adult grandchildren brought it into the home,
Mm-hmm,
and so there's a lot of reasons in the Black community that need mental health,
mm-hmm.
but do the majority of us seek mental health?
Yeah,
So, and because you can be ridiculed. Oh, you don't believe in God? All you got to do is pray, and do this and do that, and then and it's
yeah,
just hard. It's
yeah.
just
I 100%. The Black community is very faith based.
right,
And
right.
there are some people who aren't, of course, but I think the majority, either you were raised that way and you stayed in that, or you were
Mhm.
raised that way and you're no longer a part of the church, or
Right.
faith-based communities or things like that. You're more like spiritual. I hear that a lot, but
Yeah, spiritual. Yeah.
I agree. It's like, oh, you just go to church or you ask God this. God wouldn't give you more than you could handle, that kind of thing.
But he got
Um,
a therapist.
yeah, you can handle it on somebody's couch.
Yeah,
That's
but
what you
God, yeah,
can
he gave us therapists. That's why that was created.
do.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so you can go get you some help. And then the point is about him giving us therapists. If you're not in a certain location, then you don't see Black therapists, like I said
That's
before.
correct.
So then again, you might not. That might be another reason that you don't go. You don't want. I can just see some tough big guy like, I ain't going up in there telling no white woman my business. I can just hear him saying that kind of thing. What
Mm-hmm.
they gonna do for me, not knowing, but there's so many coaches nowadays that are not necessarily therapists
Yeah.
that you can go to, and there's a lot of Black coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So if and I love what Taraji P. Henson is doing as far as really getting out there talking about mental health.
Yeah, she has that show like on, I
Yeah.
don't know what it's on. I think it's on Facebook. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it, but
Yeah, I saw one episode.
I know she's been to the Capitol several times talking about mental
Mental
health.
health.
Yeah.
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 It's deeper than some of us even know. Like
Yes.
this could stem from like, and I'm talking the gamut of mental health issues,
Right.
not, the depression or I had a good friend in high school who ended up, I don't know if you all along have this, but then it's activated by, maybe there's a stressor or something that activated. We didn't know. Um, Being schizophrenic, and I think there's bipolar there. And it just blew my mind. I grew up with this person and was good friends with her. And we were like, what? She did what? Like, no way that happened. But I'm talking the full gamut of bipolar, depression,
Mhm.
PTSD. I mean, I guess even from your ADD to ADHD and those sorts of things that are seen as, you know, um, not so mental health, but they are.
Mhm.
Obsessive compulsive disorder, those things, anything that can disrupt or interfere with your well-being and your way of life.
Yeah.
But I'm also talking about those mental health issues that may not have a name, but it stems from some trauma or something like that. Or I guess that could be PTSD, but I mean, like, maybe something in your youth
Right.
happened to you, and
Mhm.
that directs and guides the way that you function now,
Mhm.
and your ability to have healthy relationships, or your ability to want to. We were watching the show, Married at First Sight, and this couple, the guy is like, well, if she doesn't want to have kids, then it's a wrap. Like, I'm done or whatever. And she's like, and they have these therapists there who match them ultimately. And this therapist was saying, why are you saying, why don't you want to have children? She's like, I'm not saying 100% I don't want to. I don't know if I just want to wait, but I have a couple of fears. One, of being pregnant, like the physically being pregnant, and two, of screwing up my kid.
Mhm.
And they said, tell me more about that. And so she said, like, I recently had a conversation with my father where he didn't know as a child, I remembered these things that were going on, or
Oh.
that I was paying attention to these things that were
Uh-huh.
going on, whether it happened directly to her or not, or like maybe fights with her parents or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It impacted her so much that she's like, look at me, I'm screwed up. And I
Mhm.
don't want to do that to my child. The
Oh.
mere fact that she's concerned about screwing up her child means that she probably would be a good mother, but
Right. Right.
but just being like, I don't know what they could be watching. I'm not perfect. And I know that they could see me do something that's imperfect that would mess them up, or, cause them to have issues. So look at this. She's done gone on the show to be married at first sight. And then it boils down to this man being like, I want to have kids. And if you don't, I'm not going to deal with you, which is, she has a fear of rejection as well, which is
Oh.
what yeah. So she's all jacked up. So she truly is, does have some issues there. So that's what I'm talking about, the things that can impact you years and years and years to come, and
Yeah.
you don't seek help.
Yeah. And then sometimes I think you might not even know it until after some years,
Hmm.
because I recall learning that I was depressed after I watched an Oprah Winfrey interview with a doctor, and the doctor was talking to some people on the show,
Hmm.
and the doctor started throwing off some of them symptoms and stuff. I was showing that interview to some of my clients at work, or my participants at work, and I was sitting in there like, oh my goodness,
Hey, wait a minute, we all depressed up in here.
wait a minute, that's the title to what's going on with me. I
Mm.
was like, and I didn't know, even though I had gone to nursing school, I don't even recall. I must have slept through that part. I don't even
The
recall
mental health section.
that. Yeah, I, and then again, maybe I thought it wasn't me because I was going to work and having a good time every day. And then when I come back home, that's when I
Mm.
would let it hit me.
Mm.
It's like I was
Like
holding that
functioning.
baby. I was a functioning depressive.
Yeah, maybe that's that.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
can
that's a term or not,
imagine.
but like I was holding it that baby, and maybe because I was busy at work, I didn't have time. And then when I got home and it got still, that's when it happened.
Yeah.
That's when I could feel it, and I was just unhappy
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I remember after those, like I said, after 2019 and all those different killings and stuff, I did go and get into a group and to learn about meditation and
Mm.
uh, being calm and and stuff like that. So I really did like that kind of stuff, because now I'll call Alexa in a minute and tell her to put on some rain sound with birds
Mhm. I
or
listen to my binaural beats every night. Like through
well, see, Seam is in here with me, so the ones that I would listen to,
Mhm.
the Barnard beats would be weight loss, and I don't want him losing weight.
The
When I
baby wake up like
first
never
started,
hungry, skinny,
yeah, when
getting
I first started, I be looking at him like he the one be losing weight, and I won't be. Because when I first started listening to them, I swear, I wake up wanting to eat. So I'm thinking, something's going on in that. And another thing is, and I think I touched on it earlier, is trust. It's a lot of trust, because I don't trust them binaural beats either. I be like, I don't know what they're doing.
like what are they saying?
Saying up
You know
under
they
that
have,
water sound.
even though
You
they have the list of like here's what's being repeated subliminally. You never know if that's being honest. You know
yeah,
how I know that? I don't know because I can't hear it. You know.
yeah. So unless I'm actually turning down a piece of chicken, then I ain't gonna know whether this thing is working or not. But for them first, that first, like
The
that
day you
first,
turn down that chicken, you're gonna be like, "I'll be damn, those beats work."
that beats work. Like, cause that first week I wasn't turning down no stuff. It was like, wait a minute, wait a minute here. It seemed like to me I was snacking more than I were before.
Hmm.
But anyway, yes.
As far as where you finished? I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, but there are techniques that you can use, and even if people, I mean, it might be. I don't know if any other guys would think of this, but if they would even talk to, I don't even know if they talk to one another about how they feel. And, it could be good if they would have their own private group or something.
Hmm.
That would be good for them and stuff.
Hmm.
But for the most part, I do pray that they would, get some type of help or
Hmm.
counseling. Maybe they got a street counselor
Right.
or
There's
something like
always what we call here, like a street lawyer.
yeah,
He
so
can
maybe
do
they
that
got
to
a street
you.
counselor that can tell them something or something like
Yeah.
that. I hope, because it helps. And like you were saying, they could take that feeling from the street to the home, and it could be bad.
Yeah, it
Everybody
can impact other people's mental health, not just theirs, because you know how they say hurt people hurt people.
hurt people.
So like whatever is going on with you, you're not addressing, and you're maybe unbeknownst to you, you're unconsciously
Say that word
putting
again. Yeah. Unbeknownst. Unbeknownst. That's
putting it onto other people, causing them to then, what if you
yeah,
have a wife and you're talking down to her,
right,
not knowing it's because something you didn't address, and right now you're having a bad moment,
right,
and so you talk down to her. So then when you're out, she's talking down to the kids
right.
because
Exactly.
she's depressed or she's
Yeah,
mad and not
yeah.
addressed. Yeah. So it's just a ripple effect. But one of the things I wanted to add is I'm a firm believer in taking mental health days
Okay.
off work. Um, whether you have a stressful job or not. Like
Hmm.
my job is not stressful at all. It's a busy job, but
Yeah.
it's not stressful. But I'm working, all of my hours every single day. And
Hmm.
so that is like nonstop. Like, where's the break? Like, I don't even think when I was in the office, I was working 8 full hours a day. Sometimes I'm on, 6 o'clock, 6:30 or whatever, or jumping back on after I put the baby down or something. And that shouldn't happen. I'm not about that life. And I do have 5,105 days left until retirement. So I'm
Oh,
looking
Lord. Okay.
forward to that. But a couple of weeks ago, I took a mental health day off. That is a sick leave day.
Hmm.
Um, took the day off, and I actually invited a few people over to the house. Like, if you need a mental health day, we gonna make some breakfast burritos and have mimosas. You can come sit out on the deck. And it was a beautiful day, like 80 degrees that day. And so we just chatted about whatever we wanted to. And everybody's like, I'm so glad you did this, Kai, because you just don't stop. It's just
Yeah.
ongoing. And I wouldn't have thought to take this day off. We're just
Yeah.
living and working for the weekends when we
Yeah.
have the day off. Like, hey, you have leave and sick leave. This is what it's for, whether it's an appointment or whatever. And I think more and more employers are supportive of it, especially nowadays. And I also tell my team, like, hey, I'm a firm believer in mental health days. I'm a
Mhm.
firm believer in using your leave. You're not abandoning your work. My team's they're senior enough to know, like, do what you have to do before you bounce out, but take your 3 days off, take your week off or whatever. And I will be doing that. And I think I might do it every other month or something. And
I
then
was
the month that I'm not, I'm taking more days off and I'm going to go on a trip.
Yeah, I would think that's a great thing to do. It's one, maybe y'all can go from to other one another's homes that have been vaccinated,
Yeah.
or maybe not. You don't even have to go to a home. Maybe you can go out into a pretty, environment somewhere and just
Picnic or whatever.
yeah, sit there and talk, park or buy some water or
Hmm.
sit in the mall or whatever, somewhere where it's a really pretty environment. You can sit there and talk and eat or whatever. And maybe
Hmm.
not even eat, but just whatever you want to do. But I think that mental health day is a good thing. And I
Yeah.
believe everybody needs it outside of their, like you say, waiting for Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. Because
It,
that's what we tend to do.
it makes a difference because Saturday and Sunday, if you haven't planned to go somewhere, you in the house catching up on the laundry, cleaning, and stuff like that. But if you take that day in the week where you would have been at work that day, you're not going to be doing that cleaning up and stuff. You're going to be
Mhm.
doing something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You plan for it. You know, about every other month I go and do a massage and a facial and stuff. And
that's what I
yeah,
want to.
I have to have that in my life. And it just works.
Yeah,
I did want to ask you about this. As far as it's seemingly selfish, but to me, I believe that even in relationships, you don't want to stress out about your relationship or what could be, whatever is going on in your relationship that might be impacting one greater than it impacts you. It's not a matter of like being nonchalant about it or not caring. But I think you're allowed to be selfish in a way that doesn't mess with your mental health. Like, I don't want to be, so caught up in um, the minutia of like whatever you could be potentially arguing about, where I'm not going to get all riled up about that because I'm not going to mess myself up mentally.
right, right.
And that could carry on, you know what I mean? Then
Yeah,
there's the bit you're, bitter or resentful, those
right,
things that's impacting your well-being mentally. And I try not to do that. And I think that it's okay to be selfish, like a people who are pleasers, who always want to please somebody or whatever. I think that if they are that person at some point, if their partner is not a pleaser, I mean, going into it, if your partner is not a pleaser,
mhm,
if that's who you are naturally, but then all of a sudden you feel like, well, I'm doing all this, but I'm not getting it back or whatever.
right,
Two
right.
things, you knew that out the gate, what type of person you married.
Hopefully you did.
Another thing, hopefully,
Hmm.
another thing is don't do things to get something back.
Right.
That's two. That's just like loaning money. Don't expect to get it back, but if you do, that's great. If you can't afford to loan it out, you should
Yeah.
say no,
Right.
right? But then, and then the third thing is because they're not acting or behaving like you would act or behave. Now you in your head all mad
Yeah.
about the level of love that they have for
Yes.
you.
Yes.
It's different love languages,
It
but
is.
yeah, so take care of your mental health. And if you are a giver like that or a doer, maybe you shouldn't one day. Like if anything pops in your mind that's going to make you feel like, am I going to get this in return? Then you shouldn't be doing that thing.
Shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you shouldn't do
Yeah.
that thing because that's going to mess you up.
Yeah. Or if you do something and you're like, what they gonna give me? I wonder what they gonna give me back.
Yeah.
I gave them big old $100 gift and they gave me a $25 gift.
Hmm.
Yeah, you shouldn't. No,
Mm-mm.
that's
Don't do
not.
that.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
do
do
that.
that. You give the $100 gift. Usually people get gifts because they think, oh, this person is gonna like this.
Yes.
And sometimes it might be a little more than you had in mind that you want to pay. Then if that's the case, if you can't afford it, then you can't get that. But if they have a range of prices, then you find one that you can afford and get it. And then don't be worrying about, because they don't know how much you paid for the gift most of the time.
Um,
They might look it up later, but most of the time they don't know how much you paid for the gift. So you get it because you felt that that person You had that person in mind. You thought that they would really like it, and you do that, and then you be pleased if they like it, and then you don't actually have to look for them to give you a gift back.
Right. That is what you got in return, to see your partner happy about
Profit
something
free.
you did
Yeah,
for them.
yeah,
And you did it,
yeah,
it came from the heart. But
yeah.
if you are concerned and then you get something, um, let's take, Mother's Day or Father's Day or whatever, you're giving someone something and then, their birthday or whatever comes around, you give them one thing, your birthday comes, it's not the value of what you gave them. So you feel like, well, that, it's not about that. And you are going to be messed up in the head,
Right. That's
because of it.
yeah.
Because then that is a part of mental health, no matter how
That
minor
is, and
it
it's not
seems.
selfish. I don't believe that's selfish because you have to take care of yourself first.
Thank
You
you.
can't. You you want to give and do from the overflow.
Yes.
You want your cup to be filled, and whatever is in the saucer, that's where you want to give from. You
Mhm.
don't want to keep taking from your cup because
To
if
where you
yeah, because if you keep taking from your cup, pretty soon you're gonna look around. There's not gonna be anything in there for
you're
you.
not quenched.
Yeah,
Exactly.
then you're not
Exactly.
quenching nothing. So you
Exactly.
want to give from the overflow. If you do happen to give for your from your cup, you gave it because not because you're looking for something back, but you're looking to you gave it to for the pleasure uh to please that person, and that
Yes.
gives you a smile and stuff like that.
Yes.
But you said something earlier about, and let me reiterate, that is not selfish, when you look out for yourself like that. And but you said something about being learning yourself and not getting all triggered, um, and making it a big old argument. You didn't use those words, but making a
Yeah.
big old argument when it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't have to be a big old argument. It can be like a little discussion. We can table this until let me think about some more. Let me understand where you're coming from.
Mhm.
That's what communication is.
Yeah.
I don't understand it like you understand it. Kind of make me understand the way you feeling. Why
Right.
aren't you excited as I am? They're not a very excitable person. They don't show their excitement on the outside.
Yeah.
Maybe they keep it on the inside. They could be just jumping up and down on the inside, but on their face, it doesn't look like
Mhm.
it, or
Mhm.
their actions don't look like it. Well, you're screaming and hollering and jumping up and down up on the island in the kitchen, and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But you just have to kind of do you know you and then know
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah. And you, like you said, if you're not right, there's nothing you can do to give properly, or whatever you're giving, physical, emotional, whatever those needs are. You're not going to be able to do it right if you haven't taken care of yourself. And
yeah,
I just want to say that, like, when I say, if you're a giver or a doer and you feel like you're waiting for somebody to give and do for you, then that's not the true meaning of like a giver, doer,
right,
whatnot.
right, yeah,
But and you, if you do pull back and just don't do the thing that you had planned to do, um, don't do it out of spite. Don't not do it out of spite, if that
yeah,
makes sense. Like, because then that's just kind of a manipulative, almost manipulative or kind of conniving way
yeah,
of going about things. Like, I'm just not going to do this because I'm not going to get it back. Well, then you're
right,
truly not a doer giver. Uh,
exactly, yeah.
that's truly not what you are.
But I
Um,
do want to clear some stuff up, being that it's Mother's Day. I was thinking about, even though some men might give you a some pots and pans for Mother's Day. I mean, if you understand that that's the type of person that he or she is, they're going to give you something functional because that's the way they think.
mhm.
And you might want to go ahead and accept that when you might have been looking for some jewelry or something. But they need to pay a little more attention to find out if you are the person, even though they might be a functional person, you might not be.
You don't do it for you, you
They
do
have
it
to
for the
think about
person.
the gift that they're giving to you, not what they would want.
Yeah.
Like
They wouldn't want no pots and pans. They would
no,
want
they would
you
want
to
a
get
person.
the pots and pans.
But they might would like a drill or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, then that's where you would know, even though you might want to get them a leather wallet and leather belt or something like that, they might want a drill, the latest piece of tool that came out.
Mm-mm.
But that kind of stuff. So you just have to be, we just have to distinguish between that, so we'll know what we who we giving to.
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. So that was funny because a lot of women are going to get gym memberships today, and that's going to be upsetting unless y'all have discussed that you wanted the top of the line gym membership for the no, no, I wouldn't do that because that's some
One of
underlying.
my friends on social media said, "Mother, she's not a mom. She's like, Moms, let me ask you this. Like, do you really want appliances and stuff? Or, and some people were like, well, heck yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to my blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah, whatever cappuccino maker. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
got that. And somebody
Yeah.
else got an umbrella with lights under it, like an
Oh,
outdoor
wow.
umbrella with the lights. And I'm like, buy that anytime, and
Yeah.
any other
That's anything.
time. But I always feel like, and Mother's Day is whatever y'all want to say it is. We know it's about mothers, but if you have a tradition, oh, I get brunch, or
Mhm.
oh, they leave me alone, or they
Mhm.
send me to the spa, or whatever your thing is, you do. I'm like, for the rest of your life, you can give me a spa gift card. I am
I
okay with that. If
Yeah.
there's something else that comes with it that you gave some thought to, that, you know, I sew and I do the like real upholstery stuff. If you think of me and like mom does this stuff, maybe she needs a damn thimble, which I do. Like, give me a thimble or give me a something, that makes life easier for that. But she was like, because that's not what I want. I don't want no appliances. I was like, no, neither do I. Give me my own damn
That's
appliance.
how when you know the person, you have to know the person and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And
And
a
you
lot of
should
times,
as your mother.
yeah, yeah, because a lot of times you hear your mom or your wife or your whomever say something that they want during the year, and you have to be just that attentive where you okay, that's what I'm gonna get,
Yeah.
something like that's funny, but
Mm.
that's funny. But anyway, so it's important. And I was thinking again, some of the with the lack of trust. You know how some of us go way out. Um, and we watch too much TV and we talk about the people being hypnotized and stuff like that, and they end up clucking like a chicken or barking like a dog or stuff like that. So there's a lot of distrust. I'm not, there's a lot of distrust going on in some of your older people and some of your naive people,
Yeah.
but to sum it up, I do say that we should I just believe it's helpful if we can get in some type of group where we can talk, just get a personal coach, a person, because there's a lot of personal coaches around nowadays, life coaches and things
Mhm.
like that. Do that. Sometimes it's for a lack of being able to pay for them, but medical insurance now, if you have medical insurance, a lot of times people don't know what all that medical insurance will pay for. They just think I go to the hospital, get sick, they pay my hospital bill. But a lot of times it'll pay for your therapist, it'll pay for a group, stuff like that. And nowadays they're doing it on Zoom. So
Mhm.
you can do this in the privacy of your home. A lot of times people don't have to know. You don't have to turn on that camera. Nobody have to see you if you in a group. So take advantage of that kind of stuff so you can talk it out. Or maybe you have that one friend that you can just tell them anything. Because I do know that do have a really good friend that she was, she was, a family member passed away. Not only was she hurt about that, but she was hurt because one of the other family members wasn't grieving like she thought they should.
Mm.
So she was hurt about that as well. So, we kind of talked and then she understood it and then she went on. So sometimes if you just have somebody that you can talk to that you believe they're not going to share that information and
For sure.
or judge you for that and stuff like that. So I do suggest that people do that. And then if you can afford a therapist, jump right in. And I know that if you're a Kaiser member, and then they also have all these apps. If you're a Kaiser member, you can get the Calm app for free, which has all type of it has the beautiful sleep sounds. It has bedtime stories read by celebrities. It has meditation situation. And I know a lot of people don't uh, like to meditate, don't know how to meditate, but
Mhm.
you can YouTube and find out beginning meditation. How do I meditate? But basically, you just want to get still sometimes. Just be still,
Yeah.
alone by yourself sometime. and then find somebody to talk to, whether you have to pay for their services or you just have a good buddy that you can talk to and get it
That's
out.
worth it.
Yeah, it is very much worth it because you keep that stuff bottled up, it'll go on and it'll go on, and it could trigger something worse.
Mm-hmm.
So you just do that. Just do it.
I wanted to ask you this. I know you were wrapping up, but I forgot to ask
Yeah,
you,
no
like,
problem.
this is just pop culture stuff. Like Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are divorcing. I wonder, like, if a lot of that had to do with his mental health issues,
It could have.
because it's everybody can't deal with that,
Right.
and depending on the degree and the level of it, and um, I had an ex who had some serious mental health issues, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? And it was almost difficult to be supportive too. Like
Right.
it was that bad. And I was like, this is a whole lot. And I
Mhm.
think for my own mental health, I was like, I can't take on this. I'm
Right.
not able
Can be
to. So
pulled
I
in.
was able to recognize, like, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
And I hated to make it feel like I'm kicking you to the curb because of it, but it
Right.
was because of the actions that had to do
Yeah.
with it, and it was just a lot for me. So I
Yeah.
just
You can
wondered
get
if,
pulled into that too, I believe. And they say you as just as sad as they are because
yeah,
all their stories and stuff like
yeah,
that.
and you can't be at a happy time because they sad, and you
Yeah.
like, I'm just trying to go to brunch and have
Yeah.
bottomless mimosas, and you
Yes.
want to sit and be sad with the mimosa,
Now
like,
that's the second
no,
or third time you done mentioned those mimosas, so I know
because
that's
I'm
what.
about to go to Mother's Day brunch and I'm having a mimosa. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
um,
that's a part of taking care of your well-being, especially if that person is not getting themselves help.
Yeah, or if they have meds and they're just like, I don't need
They're
it.
not taking
And
them.
that
Yeah.
is too focused. Sometimes those meds are like, you have to choose between like this depression I have versus these crazy thoughts or this
Uh,
being up, and you're like all over the place doing what, dancing on tables. Like,
mm,
what's it gonna be? Are you gonna go dance on tables in public where people still think you're crazy? Or you
right.
rather be in the house being depressed where you feel like nobody loves me and I don't even love myself. So
Yeah.
sometimes those meds, if they're not calibrated
Yeah.
properly, yeah.
That's where you have to be proactive with your mental health and your medical health as well. You
Mm-hmm.
got to say, look, something's not right here. This
Mm-hmm.
right here is not working out for me. This is how it makes me feel. You have to be proactive so you can get that together.
Yeah.
Um, I wish there was I don't know if there's a healing. Can you ever be healed? I'm sure you can come up out of depression and stuff like that, and you can learn some coping mechanisms and things. But some of the mental health things, there's no healing, but it's just you learning the coping
Managing.
mechanisms, the taking the medication. Hopefully,
Yeah.
you get, like you said, calibrated just right, where you can keep you functioning, where you can go on with your
Yeah.
activity.
I mean, people live with mental health
Yeah,
issues functionally and
yeah,
properly, and I use that term loosely because what is properly,
right.
um, all their lives. And it's a matter of them taking it into their own hands, managing it along with their doctors, and not just putting it all into doctors' hands. You have to
Yeah,
know you
yeah,
too.
right.
Not to say like, oh, I don't like the way these make me feel, I'm gonna stop taking it, because
Stop
then
taking. Yeah,
you're in a battle, again. But you're right, there's no real cure per se
mhm,
for some mental health issues, and
yeah. You
it's
just
just
have
managing
to
them
manage.
and being able to suppress them to where they don't impact your life negatively.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. Well,
Good
very,
topic, Mom.
very good. Because it's so important that we don't talk about it a lot. I'm sure that there are certain I don't want to say groups, but certain of us that are aware, that do talk about it, and then those that don't talk about it a lot.
Hmm.
And those that talk about it a lot, then they have a tendency to do something.
Hmm.
Those that don't talk about it a lot or never, then those are the ones that don't have a tendency to do anything.
Hmm.
So so I'm going to suggest that if we have any conversations at all during the week or the rest of this month or whenever we're with our friends, that we bring up a little something about self-care. We don't have to
Hmm.
we don't have to say anything about mental health, but if we bring up a little bit about self-care, even men self-care, you
Mhm.
know, then hopefully we can encourage someone and let them know that it's okay.
Yeah, because you do also see people who don't medicate. They're aware of things
Yeah,
going on with them, and they might have a therapist, but they're like, I'm afraid of how these drugs make me feel,
right.
or this prescription drug makes me feel, or they have, they have taken it and they're like, I can't deal with the way that makes me feel. And they might self medicate through alcohol or something like
Yeah,
that,
alcohol or other
drinking and
drugs and
trying
stuff.
to.
And then that's where you want to really be, like we said, proactive, because some of those medications, the side effects are suicide, which I think is the craziest thing.
Like, how is that? Hmm.
Because I believe that one of Lata's friends had gotten some medication, and very successful young lady, but she started taking some medication because she was having something going on, something in a period of her life. And then all of a sudden her thoughts start changing. The suicidal thoughts, the depression thoughts, the terrible thoughts. And she like, what is going on? And she happened to talk to your sister, her, and she told her, Alata has told her, read those side effects. And some of the side effects was just exactly what she was going through.
Girl,
Yeah.
oh
So
man.
yeah, so that's one thing. Again, it's the trust thing that's could have thrown her all the way off. Like, I'm not taking any medication because of this, and but I think they might have gotten it worked out or something
I'm
like
so
that. So
glad she did and
mhm,
had somebody to talk
had somebody to talk
to
to.
say it like, I've been having these thoughts. I never had these thoughts before.
And that's what she did. She talked, and
Yeah.
when she brought it out loud, she said it to somebody who happened to say, "Read those side effects."
Mhm.
They read them and found out that's what it was, and then
Mhm.
she was able to get things straightened out. But
That's
as I was saying, if we could encourage someone, if we, because it makes me feel so bad. Like, what could I have said to that person, or could I have even said anything to that person to make them change their thoughts around? That kind of stuff. Like, I know I kept saying I wanted to close it, but I'm gonna do it in just a minute because I kept thinking about the young man that we lived next to when we were in Virginia. A nice young man, never would have thought anything was going on. It's nothing I probably could have said to him because he was somebody else's young son.
right.
And I didn't see him that often, but whenever I saw him, he was pleasant. And we just thought he was going on with his activities of daily living and he was doing fine. And here, years later, you know, this is what happened. And I would love to for uh, Jen X to have been on here. Gen X, right? She's
I'm
Gen
Gen
X.
X. She's Gen Z.
She's Z. XYZ. Okay. I would love for her to have been on here because the college life probably has, if they probably need counselors just walking up and down in there
Hmm. Any
on the
given
campus,
moment.
yeah, for any moment because of that. So I would have loved to have seen her. So maybe the next time we can get her opinion on it. And
Yeah. Still
yeah,
mental health.
yeah,
Maybe
Miss
we'll,
Miss
yeah,
Grad,
highlight some part of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can try some part of it. So anyway, thank you so very much. I'll be bringing your gifts to Vegas. But you have a happy Mother's Day, and I will text Kelly and let her know what's going on.
You too, Mom. Thank you.
Y'all have a
Love you.
great
Happy
day, and thank
Mother's
you
Day.
for my gift. I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. So I'm going to take time and go through there and smile at all those pictures of lemon meringue.
Okay. See you soon in
All
Vegas.
right. Bye
Turn
bye.
up in Vegas. Bye,
All right.
Mom. Love you.
Okay. Miss Tracy is coming. Big Tracy is coming.